For almost 3 full years, I truly believed that fate had finally been kind to me, because while other women whispered about controlling mothers-in-law and passive-aggressive sisters-in-law, I walked around convinced that I had somehow won the family lottery, smiling politely whenever someone warned me that it never lasts, and answering with complete sincerity that my husband's family was different, warm, kind, and genuinely loving. My mother-in-law, Margaret Collins, always greeted me with a soft smile and open arms, her house smelling like fresh food and comfort, asking about my work, my plans, my health, and on my very first birthday as part of their family, she baked a cake herself. Not something quickly picked up from a bakery, but a homemade cake with layers she had carefully prepared. Frosting she proudly told me she made from scratch, and candles she placed one by one while saying, "Now you're truly one of us." I remember standing there, holding back tears, because my own mother had died when I was 17. My father had never been part of my life, and suddenly this woman was calling me family, and I wanted so desperately to believe that life was finally giving me something back after taking so much away. My sister-in-law, Emily, made everything feel even more real because she added me to every family group chat, tagged me in photos, invited me to her birthdays, asked my advice when buying gifts for her mother, and even sent me links to clothes with messages like, "I saw this and immediately thought of you. It's so your style." And I bought those clothes, wore them proudly, and felt strangely grateful that someone cared enough to think of me that way. Whenever they needed help, I never hesitated, because in my mind, this was what family did for each other. And that spring, I drove Margaret to her medical injections 3 times a week, sitting for hours in traffic, rearranging my work schedule, skipping meetings, while my husband Daniel hugged me at night and told me how thankful he was, how lucky he felt to have a wife like me. In the summer, I looked after Emily's cat while she traveled overseas, driving across the city every day to feed a temperamental animal that scratched my arms and ignored the litter box, telling myself it was fine because family helps family. And when she returned with a small souvenir and called me the best sister-in-law in the world, I felt oddly proud of myself. In the fall, I helped organize Margaret's birthday celebration, calling relatives, booking a restaurant, collecting money, coordinating everything, while Emily hugged me tightly afterward and said, "We honestly couldn't have done this without you." And I believed every word. I wanted to believe it. Daniel used to laugh and say that I talked to his family more than he did. And I would smile and tell him how lucky he was, how wonderful his mother and sister were, never once questioning whether the warmth I felt was real or simply something I wanted to see. In November, after years of hesitation, I finally changed my hairstyle, cutting my hair into a neat bob, and when I looked in the mirror, I felt lighter, more confident, more myself than I had in a long time, and Daniel's reaction only amplified that feeling when he smiled, took photos, and posted one online with a caption calling me beautiful. The next day, I stopped by Margaret's house to pick up a pot of food she had prepared for us, rang the doorbell, received no answer, and pushed the door open quietly, assuming she hadn't heard me. That assumption changed everything. From the kitchen, I heard Emily's voice first, laughing casually, saying, "Did you see her new haircut? That bob? I almost choked when I saw it." Followed by Margaret's voice, calm and dismissive, replying, "It's awful. It makes her face look even wider. She was already overweight and now she just looks square." Emily laughed again and said, "And she actually thinks it looks good, walking around all proud. Sometimes I almost feel sorry for her." To which Margaret coldly responded, "Don't, Daniel doesn't care, as long as someone cooks for him, and we just have to tolerate her, especially with the way she acts. Like at my birthday, calling me beloved Margaret, as if she finally found herself a mother." I stood frozen, staring at the pot waiting by the door, realizing it had been prepared in advance so I wouldn't even have to enter the house. And without making a sound, I turned around, walked out, and sat in my car, hands shaking, staring at the steering wheel until the tears finally came, messy and uncontrollable, blurring everything I thought I understood about my life. I didn't confront them, and I didn't tell Daniel, not because I wasn't hurt, but because something inside me needed time to accept the truth before deciding what to do with it. Instead, I started paying attention. At the next family dinner, when Emily complimented my dress, I noticed the quick glance she exchanged with her mother, the barely noticeable tightening of Margaret's lips, the silent language they shared that I had been blind to before, and suddenly all the compliments felt rehearsed, hollow, and strangely cruel. I noticed how they always sat next to each other now, while I sat across the table, how their phones appeared in their hands at the same time, how their smiles disappeared the moment they thought I wasn't watching, and how the warmth I once felt was replaced by a constant sense of being observed, evaluated, and quietly mocked. One evening, while scrolling through old photos, I saw things I had never noticed before. My wide, genuine smile next to Emily's cold eyes. Holiday pictures where Margaret and Emily stood in the background, heads bent together, smiling at their phones while I posed happily in the foreground, unaware. 3 years. 3 years of believing something that had never truly existed. When Emily called me a few days later, her voice sweet and casual, asking if I could drive her to the airport at dawn, I surprised myself by saying no, calmly and without explanation, and the silence on the line told me everything I needed to know. When Margaret called soon after, playing the role of a helpless, sick woman who needed my help, and I refused again, her voice changed instantly, dropping the sweetness and revealing a sharp coldness I could no longer ignore. Daniel still believes everything is fine. He tells me his mother loves me, that she misses me, and I nod, smile, and say I'm just tired, because I don't yet know how to explain to the man I love that the family I thought I had found never truly saw me as family at all. What I do know is this: I won't run when they call anymore. I won't prove my worth through favors, and I won't mistake politeness for love ever again. They didn't accept me. They tolerated me. And for the first time in 3 years, I finally see the difference.
Thank you for being here. Like and subscribe for more.